What's up, guys? Go Rodeo Gaming here, back with a kind of a special video for you guys. I thought I wanted to share with you guys the heaviest train I ever had while I was working at the Union Pacific Railroad. So today we're in Run 8 Train Simulator, and I built a recreation of this train that I had. Same power, same kind of train build. I don't have the exact train list, but I wanted to give an accurate representation through a game, and there's no better way to do it than with Run 8. So let's get into the stats of this train. It was pretty outstanding. I'll pull up the paperwork right now. So here we have the train summary paperwork that I saved from this train. At the time in the territory I was working in, this was a record for the heaviest train that has ever traversed through this territory, being the Cajon subdivision of the BNSF and down to Colton. So here is kind of the hard facts, so we'll go over this first. Total length 12,399 feet. Total weight 22,182 tons. That's including the locomotives and the rail cars. You see right here, just the rail cars themselves weighed 20,284 tons and just over 12,000 feet. So this 22,182 tons equates to 44,364,000 pounds. It's pretty unbelievable to think about. At least it is to me. We had 180 cars that day, only 4 of which were empties. Look at that, 176 loads, 4 empties. We had 39,600 horsepower worth of locomotives. Here's the list of the locomotives we had on the train that day. So this was, a record at the time for the heaviest train that has ever come through this area on the Union Pacific. And I think it might have been on the BNSF as well. So, yeah, pretty crazy to get this train. We'll go back here. So here is kind of, we'll run through what it basically looked like here. What it was is it was a manifest. It was a North Platte, and at the time they were combining the manifest trains coming from North Platte with the auto trains coming from North Platte. So you basically had 2 trains in one. So that's why it was so long. We had so many locomotives. So we had 4 locomotives on the head-end. We basically had these 4 models. So we had some GEs. We won't get too into the specifics. I don't have the original train list, so I can't say exactly how the rail cars looked and what type of rail car and all that good stuff. So I just made the closest thing I could to it to represent this train. So we had a pretty long, we basically had I want to say it was about a 7,000 foot portion of manifest. Then here, right before the auto racks, we had 3 mid-train DPUs. And then this is where you have the auto train. So before precision scheduled railroading, you would just have this manifest train come down as its own train, and then you'd have an auto train come down from North Platte that was its own train. Now they like to combine them, and as far as I know, this is what they're still doing. This causes a lot of issues because now you have these really long trains, so you have connection issues with the DPUs. They have to put basically like a repeater in the controlling DPU so that the head-end can link from the head-end to the controlling DPU in the middle, and then link to the DPUs on the rear, which we had 2 of them. So this train was a little bit of a nightmare. One problem that we had was these trains get to Yermo with as little power as possible, so as little locomotives as possible. I think the steepest grade between North Platte and Yermo, if you're a westbound train, is only 1% or maybe a little bit over. So when it gets to Yermo, it only has about half the power it needs to get up the backside of the Cajon Pass, which is a 1.6% grade from what I remember. So we had to add locomotives into the middle. I think we had to add one onto the rear and maybe even some to the head end. So it took us about 6 hours here in Yermo of adding power. So it was a nightmare, and we didn't get too far. We got about halfway into our journey down the Colton before we died. We ran out on the hours of service, but it was a unique train. You know, when you're running these trains, you can, if you're aware, you can really feel what's going on. You can, when you start to go up a hill, you can feel the train's weight start to tug on you, start to pull when you go downhill. If you're not using air brakes, you can feel the train push against you. And I just remember me and the engineer I was working with going up a short uphill section, and you can just feel this immense tug just pulling these locomotives back. And it was a sensation that you feel with every train, but just the size and the weight of this thing, it was just, I remember me and the engineer looking at each other and be like, wow, this thing's a beast, you know, and it was. So I think that's about all I can add for this. I just wanted to share with you guys. I thought this was a pretty unique kind of story or unique train that I got. If you guys would like to see me run this train in Run 8 from Yermo to Colton, like we did, let me know in the comments, and I'll do a live stream where I run this thing. So it's a good, accurate representation of a real train I had. Last thing I'll go, I want to show you a few little things here. We got a conductor Kyle. He's tricked his vest out, you know, Monster Ford, F-150 tap out, you know, all that good stuff. So, and then over here we got some custom locomotive skins, or I should say skin enhancements for Run 8. So here's a UP tunnel motor that I weathered myself, and basically I wanted to make it look like it was from a leaser company. So we blotched out the lettering, faded it, rusted it, blotched out the logo, all that good stuff. And then we have another skin enhancement right here, which is supposed to represent a SD40 M2. So the SP in the 90s bought a bunch of rebuilt SD40s. So this one's patched. I have one that isn't patched. And check out our Discord if you want to get these skin enhancements for free. We would much appreciate it if you like the video, you subscribe. More of these skin enhancements to come, more Run 8 stuff to come, more Transport Fever 2 maps and gameplay. So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for all the support. We'll check you later.